Hello everyone, welcome back. I hope your day is starting off as fantastic as it possibly can. Summer is here in full force and it's time for us to go out and enjoy this fantastic, beautiful country we live in. And I'm here in my favorite fishing spot and Marty's leading the way. Can you hear it? Can you hear the sounds? Canada's broken. Everything's broken. Everything's horrible. Do you hear it? I don't, and neither do you. In fact, major news organizations are noticing the same thing. As reported here on CBC News, Parliament went from a combative fall to a fruitful spring. The House of Commons actually passed key legislation in under a month after almost nothing moved last fall. What's changed? Well, the big difference is that Mr. Doom Gloom here no longer has a seat in the House of Commons, and we don't have to hear him constantly spouting his negative slogans day after day after day. In fact, the whole tone in this short sitting of Parliament just before summer was very respectful and very positive and yielded results. It even started with the Conservative interim leader of the opposition, Andrew Scheer, making an initial speech, which I felt was a very respectful, heartfelt speech, welcoming the new Speaker to the House of Commons. I'll play you a little piece of it here.
You have just taken charge of an office that is almost as old as Parliament itself. It emerged in the Middle Ages when the Commons needed a spokesman to air its grievances to the King. A task that probably wouldn't stand up to the safe workplace guidelines that exist today. 7 speakers were beheaded between 1394 and 1535, and many more were imprisoned. Managing monarchs was a delicate undertaking.
And in fact, that respectful tone continued as Mark Carney participated in his first question periods. Here he is making a mistake.
Mr. Prime Minister, Battlefield promotion there. Mr. Speaker, I'm proud as Prime Minister to have made the biggest investment in our military in decades. I am proud.
Can you imagine if this guy was in Parliament and Mark Carney made a mistake like that? Rather than what you heard, the opposition members laughing and clapping and letting him continue, I'm sure Mr. Poilievre would be preparing about a dozen questions for the following session. The Prime Minister doesn't even know who he is or who is leading the country. The country's broken. I'll tell you what I think and what a lot of Canadians already knew and what many more Canadians are starting to understand. Canada was never broken. Pierre Poilievre was broken. And in fact, now that he's gone and his miserable negative aura has dissipated and we don't have to hear from him day after day after day spouting his negative slogans and his doom and gloom, we start seeing reports like this from Abacus Data, who conducted a poll and says optimism about the direction of the country reaches a 3-year high. Our latest poll was conducted from June 2nd to June 5th and interviewed 2,585 Canadian adults. The survey finds that optimism in the direction of the country has reached a 3-year high, while positive impressions of Prime Minister Carney and his government continue to rise. On the other hand, reported here on the 338 Canada website, Poilievre slides. Conservative leader down 13 points as preferred PM since Election Day. And what do you expect from a guy who led his party to defeat in the election, lost his own seat, and then continues to pump out negative videos? In this one here, sitting in front of a backdrop of a defaced Canadian flag. He has a blue and white Canadian flag behind him in this creepy video that he did. I did a video about his creepy video. If you want to watch that, just click the top right corner of the screen there, and I warn you, it's cringy. Reported here on Cult MTL website, Mark Carney leads Pierre Poilievre in net favorability by 70 points. And if you look at some of the results on the polling that they did, approval ratings for Mark Carney, and the question was, do you approve or disapprove of the way the following individuals are handling their jobs? Mark Carney, Prime Minister and leader of the Liberal Party. And you can see the green line is increasing and the blue line is decreasing, the green line being the approval rating and the blue line being the disapproval rating. Mark Carney is now plus 36 on his approval rating, meaning 68 is 36 more than 32. So the pollsters will say that Mark Carney has a plus 36 approval rating. Do you approve or disapprove of the way the following individuals are handling their jobs? The same question. Pierre Poilievre, leader of the Conservative Party of Canada. 67% of people disapprove, 33% approve. Pierre Poilievre has a negative 34-point approval rating. The spread between Mark Carney and Poilievre in favorability rating, is what they call it, is 70 points. This guy has gone from being the Conservative Party's attack dog to the Conservative Party's ball and chain. And he shows no signs of changing his approach. And the Conservative Party, well, I use the word conservative loosely there, the reform wild rose base of the Conservative Party, those who have the most power to actually vote out or choose a different leader for their party, they show no signs of changing their approach. And this is such a sad thing for the actual Conservative Party, what was once the Progressive Conservative Party. And I bet there are many viewers that are watching this video right now that in the past have voted for the Progressive Conservative Party and have now grown tired of the doom and gloom and the populist approach that this party has taken, and they've switched to the Liberals. And what these Maple MAGA conservatives don't seem to understand is Canada is a very different type of voting population than the United States. We don't jump on bandwagons and just get overwhelmed by negative rhetoric as easily as some Americans do. There are a lot of Canadians, the majority of us, who are actually critical thinkers and want to actually discuss the issues and know the facts. And Canadians aren't really as divided and polarized as Americans are. We aren't just married to one party for our whole life just because our parents voted for one party. Canadians actually think about the issues, and we're really influenced by the character, the intelligence, and the vision of any particular leader. Let me give you some examples. In 1984, Canadians elected a progressive conservative government led by Brian Mulroney. And in that election, Brian Mulroney won 211 seats, a gain of 111 seats, while the Liberal Party, led by John Turner, won only 40 seats, a loss of 95 seats. The NDP won 30 seats, a loss of only 1 seat. So in that election, Canadians were impressed by the integrity, the intelligence, and the vision of Brian Mulroney, and they gave him a strong majority. On the Canadian map here beside me, you can see the breakdown of the seats in that election, and you'll notice a big chunk of blue in Southern Ontario and Quebec. That's how Brian Mulroney won the election. He won Southern Ontario and Quebec. In 2011, Canadians voted for Stephen Harper and gave the Conservative Party a majority with 166 seats, a gain of 23 from the previous election, and they elected 103 NDP members, making Jack Layton, the leader of the NDP, the leader of the official opposition. That was an increase of 67 seats for Jack Layton, and Canadians saw something in Jack Layton to make his party rise so much. And Canadians detected intelligence and vision from Mr. Jack Layton and from Stephen Harper. They both achieved big gains, but the NDP in that election gained 67 seats. The Liberals were decimated under the leadership of Michael Ignatieff, who just didn't resonate with Canadian voters. How did Stephen Harper achieve victory in that election? Well, if you look at the map of Canada again, you'll see that he won the majority of British Columbia and the Vancouver area, and he won the majority, if not all, Southern Ontario, Toronto, and the GTA. He won all those seats. His message and vision resonated with a large part of the Canadian population. That's how you win elections. And neither Brian Mulroney or Stephen Harper campaigned with an endless stream of negative statements. Canada's broken, everything's broken. The only way we'll stop our country from collapsing into oblivion is to vote for me. They didn't win by spewing that nonsense. They had their own positive visions for the future of Canada, and those visions resonated with the majority of Canadians. Just to emphasize how bad and tired people are of Pierre Poilievre and his message, this is reported on CBC. This is a poll in Alberta. This poll was taken in Alberta. And the question was on a scale of 0 to 10, where 0 means you are not at all impressed and 10 means you are very impressed, how would you rate each of the following federal party leaders? 37% of the respondents ranked Mark Carney a 7 to 10 or very impressed. 32% ranked him between 0 and 3, not impressed at all. But look at the numbers for Pierre Poilievre. In Alberta, 38% of respondents ranked him 7 to 10, very impressed, about the same number as Mark Carney. And 35% ranked him 0 to 3, not impressed at all. Pierre Poilievre's favorability is lower than Mark Carney in Alberta, where he's set to run in a by-election to try and get elected again so that he can come back to the House of Commons. And he's set to run in this by-election in what's probably the safest seat in the country. In fact, it's the headquarters for the Alberta separation movement. And fortuitously for us, Alberta has just had 3 provincial by-elections. And one of the by-elections is in the exact same area where Pierre Poilievre wants to run in a federal by-election. These are the actual results taken here from the Elections Alberta website. And the 3 by-elections were one in Edmonton Ellerslie and one in Edmonton Strathcona. Wins for the NDP, that's the NDP here. The Liberals are basically non-existent in Alberta provincial politics. Then the UCP, the United Conservative Party, these are the votes for the Conservatives. And then there's a party called RPA, and that stands for Republican Party of Alberta. That's the separatist party. And in Edmonton, they basically have no support. But in the seat that Pierre Poilievre wants to run in a federal by-election, the same geographical location, I'm not sure if the boundaries are exactly the same as the provincial boundaries, but that is in Olds Disbury Three Hills, an area near Red Deer, Alberta. And that particular riding was won by the UCP, the United Conservative Party, and the Republican Party of Alberta was able to get 2,705 votes, less than the NDP. They came in third in the by-election. And what is that, about a 17% of the popular vote? This is in the headquarters location of the Alberta separation movement. And in these 3 by-elections, where they were very motivated to get out and vote, where they had new candidates in their new party ready to show Alberta what they could do. And they finished third in their heartland and actually finished, fourth? Or behind the Liberals even in the 2 seats in Edmonton. So all this nonsense about Alberta separating is just that, nonsense. And Pierre Poilievre wants to step into this seat, and those are going to be his constituents. What's the chance that he can become more progressive and possibly garner support from Quebec and Ontario and have any chance of winning a future federal election? Let me go back to this picture of flowers framing our beautiful Parliament building with the headline, "Parliament went from a combative fall to a fruitful spring." And it just shows that we Canadians from all different parties, if we work together and if our elected representatives work together in Parliament, they can achieve wonderful things. They can work together and actually pass laws and legislation instead of just having endless question periods where their leader stands up and says everything's broken. I would look Pierre Poilievre in the eye and say, Canada wasn't broken. You're the one who was broken. Most Canadians are moving on. You know, it's like when you're liberated from a toxic relationship. Have you ever been in a relationship and no matter how hard you tried to work on that relationship or tried to keep positive, that individual would just constantly be negative and bring you down and down and down? So finally you decided, okay, I'm done. And you severed that relationship, at first with a little bit of apprehension. Oh, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. But when you finally end that relationship, after a little bit of time, you feel that, boy, I made the right decision. I was so tired of that. I can't believe how much better I feel and how much more positive things are now. So I'm going to go out now and explore my favorite fishing spot with Marty leading the way. And I'm going to try and enjoy my summer, as I hope all of you will enjoy this fantastic country over the summer. I know a lot of us like to take a break over the summer and not be bothered with politics. But I also know that Conservatives are going to have to make a major decision here on whether to keep or get rid of Pierre Poilievre. And I just want to say to you, get rid of him. And get someone who has a more positive vision for our country as your leader. And I know some Liberals will say, no, just let them keep him. Let them keep him so they can lose in the next election. And I don't view it that way. I view that Canada is better when we have strength across the spectrum in our politics, when we have strong leaders with positive visions for the future of our country, because you never know, there may emerge a leader from a party that you haven't voted for before that is actually worth considering, that could be positive for the future of Canada. That's the way I think of it, and that's the way we should all think of it. We have strengths across the board in Canada, and it's unfortunate that one of our major parties so far has chosen to keep this negative slogan-spewing doom and gloom leader. He'll never win with that message because we Canadians are just too smart for that. So wish me luck as I go out there and cast my fly into the water. And I wish you all have a fantastic rest of your day and a fantastic week in this amazing country. Isn't summer so amazing in Canada? It's got to be the best place in the world in the summer. It's not even a close contest. Like, we get the added bonus. Not only are we going to enjoy our summer holidays, but our days are twice as long. We get a bonus 2 for 1. It's like double amazing because the sun comes up so early and it sets so late that we get to go out and enjoy our activities for twice as much time as we do in the winter. So thanks for watching, everyone. Subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. Leave some comments and let me know what you think. And if you'd like to support my channel monetarily on a monthly basis, consider becoming a member. You can click the link that I attached to my comment in the comment section, which I always pin to the top. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you all on the next one.